I think the happiest time of my life really was when I was either a student or a teacher at West Broad School.
Mm-hmm.
There was great camaraderie, love. Uh, Kids were good. Parents were cooperating. Uh, when I was a student, the teachers loved the students. Like I said, if you needed something, they would take their own money and buy it for you if you were too poor to get it otherwise. But often when I passed by West Broad School, I said, bless you, school, because you
Wow.
provided me many years of happiness
Mm-hmm.
as a student and as a teacher.
Because you mentioned the parents, so the parents were
Always
cooperative.
cooperating with you. Uh, you didn't have problems with children. If they disobeyed, uh, you could correct them.
Mm-hmm.
You use corporal punishment if it was necessary, and they would cooperate with you. Now
Mm-hmm.
you had sense enough not to be abusive, how far to go, and students understood that you cared about them.
Mm-hmm.
That was a period of time that black teachers could motivate kids,
Mm-hmm.
because they could say, well, now you see, you can't make it unless you do such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Out there in that, but after integration, you couldn't go there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you could go to a lot of little uh, touchy.
So it was more difficult to motivate the black
After
kids after
integration,
integration.
because there were certain things you couldn't say or do,
Mm-hmm.
because you had two different classes of folks, or
Right.
different kinds of people there,
Okay.
and you didn't know the parents like you do like you did the black kids'
Mm-hmm.
parents
Mm-hmm.
when it was exclusively black.
Mm-hmm.
And you call a kid saying you want to be something. You could point out some people who had already achieved
Mm-hmm.
and etc. Couldn't do that when you integrate.
Mm-hmm.
So things sort of got out. I think it fell behind really,
Okay.
and started retrogressing rather than
Okay.
making progress.
And that happened when you left West Broad. That when you went to Chase Street, not
Yeah, I
Chase, but
went to
College Avenue.
College Avenue.
That was an integrated situation for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that. What was that like?
Uh, it wasn't very pleasant,
Okay.
to tell you the truth. Uh, there were some situations there with some teachers that you just wouldn't believe would happen. For example, like there was a teacher there that uh, would call children nigger. You nigger, stop that! You know, and what if I went to the principal to protest? Uh, you know, well, what's that nigga doing in here fussing about something? You know, so you had to sort of swing with the punches.
Right.
You know, if you wanted to survive
Mm-hmm.
and then put in whatever, you had to be very careful and very tactical.
Mm-hmm.
You had to wait your opportunity to get your plug in.
Mm-hmm.
For example, uh, once we left College Avenue, we went to Oconee Street. All right, at Oconee Street, my job was to punish the black kids. If they misbehaved, I was the person to punish. I got to think about that thing. I got along real well with the principal and everybody. I got to think about that thing, and I went to her. I said, you know one thing, I don't think I want to punish black kids anymore unless I can punish the white too. I was on the way out of that school. Wasn't too long, I was out. See, you don't do that. Your job is to punish them black kids. You don't punish these white kids. I thought they kids,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And if I can't punish the whites along with the black when they misbehave, then I don't want to punish any of them. You take the job.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you a situation why I had to do that.
Okay.
I went to school one day, and the principal, Miss Wallace, her name. Miss Wallace was, you know, standing in her office, though greeting teachers. She was beat up, her face was all skinny. I said, wow, what happened to you? She said, I had a fall. Well, my neighbor, Agnes Amos, was teaching over there at the same time. She said, that's not what happened. Said she tried to punish Johnny Paul, and Johnny Paul turned the ear way but loose. I tried to punish Johnny Paul almost turned me. I said, he did the same thing to me. You leave Johnny Paul alone. But Miss Wally was bruised all up.
Oh, my.
Sitting down, I said, what happened to you? She said, I had a fall. Agnes told me later on, so she didn't fall. So Johnny Paul beat her up. I said, well, that's one situation where you don't put your racist business in. You know, you can't disrespect everybody.
Right.
Well, like I said, it was a touch and go kind of situation.
Okay.
It needed to be somebody on the outside to kick up dust about the situation.
Okay.
Because if you're on the inside, it's kind of hard, unless you do it in a way when it's opportunistic. You know, situation arise,
Right.
then you can put in your. That's the way I hate to operate. Being only black man in the school.
How long were you at Oconee Street?
I was there 2 years. I left Oconee Street. Yeah, I was up there 2 years, but I really couldn't do at that school, at those schools like I did at West Broad.
Right.
At West Broad, I was free to teach.
Exactly.
But under this administration, I was under control. You know, and teaching. I believe to be a good teacher, you got to recognize what the child needs. You know, you don't just across the board give everybody algebra because everybody doesn't need algebra, everybody can't absorb algebra. Recognize the ability of the child, recognize his needs, and then you teach to that child for that. See, I was able to do that at West Broad. I knew the kid, I knew what he needed, and I taught him that. And sometimes it took, you had to do things that he should have gotten at home. You had to be a total teacher. Right. But you couldn't do that with the integrated situation, and I wasn't very happy with it.
Okay.
So it wasn't a pleasant situation.
And then you went to Clark Miller?
Yeah. My next position was Clark Miller. At that time, W.H. McBride was the principal.
Okay.
And I got back into my deal then.
Your rhythm, son.
Yeah, got back into my rhythm, got my rhythm back. So I was happy there, and I was able to teach to the needs of the children. And things went quite well there until I retired. I finally said, well,
What year did you retire?
1968, I believe.
Around 68,
somewhere around either 67 or 68.
Okay.
I said I had almost 40 years, and I said, well, now let me go down here to this board of education. One day I said, let me go to the board of education and retire. I left school that day and went on down there. I was just tired of dealing with it. And then at the end of the year, it was done.
Okay.
I think that was maybe March or April when I went down there.
Okay.
And then when school opened that next year, I was so lost I didn't know what to do. Everybody was going to schools, and there I was at home. Wife going to work. Here I am. What do I do with me?
And I know you mentioned the country club.
Yeah. Well,
when did you start there?
Well, I can't pinpoint a year. I started out there as a waiter, part-time. This was a part-time job.
Was that before you went to college? After you?
No, that was after.
Okay.
While I was teaching school.
Okay.
With 4 children.
Okay.
And a teacher's salary just wasn't enough. My wife just had an ordinary job, but a teacher's salary just wasn't enough to do what I want to do with my kids. I had 4 children.
Right. Yeah. Tell me about your wife and children now.
My wife went to Marsh Brown. She didn't graduate, but she attended Marsh All of her sisters attended Morris Brown.
And your wife's name was?
Bernice.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a Jackson, Bernice Jackson. And she went to Morris Brown. I had these 4 kids, and my ambition for them was to finish school, get the best education that I could give them. And teaching salary wasn't enough for me to do that. So I took a job one summer at the Athens Country Club.
Okay.
And it went from there on up to maitre d' out there, part-time. Well, the club wasn't open, it was open on Wednesday night, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday lunch. It wasn't.
So when you retired, you continued to do that for a while? Or did you?
No,
No.
I didn't. When I retired, I retired.
You retired?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't know, what do I do with me? And that's a miserable feeling.
What about your hobbies?
Oh, okay. I love to fish. I don't get to do a lot of that nowadays. But my brother was a great fisher. He could fish. He'd go catch fish. He'd come back with, had to hold his hand up like this to keep him from dragging.
Okay.
He could catch it. And my whole family loved to fish. Play golf. I like to play softball when I was younger.
Okay.
I think the last time I tried to play softball, I come up with a charter. I think I gave that up.
So did you do the golf after retirement? What did you
before
find to do?
Before I retired,
You started, but I'm trying to figure out what was life like after you retired.
I did part-time work. Working at the Athens Country Club, I was in contact with most of the folks who were folks, you know, the wheels in there.
Right.
They knew my ability, my skills,
Okay.
and whatnot, in doing parties and whatnot.
Okay.
And so I continued to do parties.
Okay.
Folks called me.
Okay.
They were going to have a party, and I would be in charge of the parties that day.
Okay.
The bartender or whatever that, you know, setting up the parties.
Now tell us about your 4 children.
My oldest daughter finished high school when she went to Morris. She graduated from Morris Brown.
And her name?
Sharon, you met her. She
Sharon,
met me a while ago.
Okay.
And so her career, she just retired from teaching. She taught. My second child, Gregory and Bruce, went to Auburn State.
Okay.
And the baby girl went to Savannah State, so she graduated from Savannah State, and the 2 boys from Auburn State.
So they all finished college.
All finished college. And my 2 daughters have advanced degrees, 6-year certificates, I guess. You know, you can go that route. My oldest daughter just retired. My 2 boys, they decided they gonna work at St. So I didn't try to, as long as you got a college education, do what you want to do. But after I got you college educated, then you do your own thing.
Right.
And that's the only way I figure folk can find happiness, when you make your own choices.
Right. Okay.
You know, because I've seen, tell you the truth, folks who graduated from medical school didn't want to be no doctor. And they weren't no doctors either. They had the title. And you don't do that to folk. You go, I got you out of trouble, keep you on the right path. But you choose your own career, whatever it is. So they chose to work in out there. Now my oldest son is supervisor. He has a younger son. He just out there. You know. So that's what you want to do, fine.
Okay.
As long as he's happy.
How many grandchildren?
I have 8 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's right. And my grandchildren, proud of them. I had one granddaughter who finished college cum laude. Had a master's degree, magna cum laude. all of my granddaughters went through college on the dean's list. I'm pretty proud of them. Pretty smart kids.
Okay.
Boys, you know, they just went and did what they did. Which was fine with me.
Yeah, they went, didn't they?
But they know they got the right genes because
Yeah.
it's in the daughters.
Right, right. Okay.
Right.
And I got my final questions there, and it's kind of a good lead into it. Is how do you want to be remembered
I'd like to be.
by your kids and grandkids?
I think they will remember me because they often tell me, "Daddy, you've been a good father." And I would like for them to always remember me as a good family man. And I tried to teach them to go in the same direction. Be good family men, because I always felt that family was the most important unit in your life.
And the second part of that is how would you like to be remembered by others?
As a kind, considerate, as helpful, a spiritual kind of person,